We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south-of-the-border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Hi, I'm Kurt Angle. I represented the United States in the Olympics in 1996 and won a gold medal. Then I parlayed that into a pro wrestling career. I saw a commercial a few years ago.
Tunnel to Towers Foundation made a promise.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation is paying off the mortgages for Gold Star families with young children. I thought, this is really cool. I want to be a part of it. My dad served in the Army for 30 years. We didn't have a lot of money, but he made sure we had what we needed. He set a great example for all of us. He died in a construction accident my freshman year in high school. When he died, we didn't have any income coming in, and we ended up being forced to move out of our house. I was devastated. So I understand what these families are going through, and to have an organization like Tunnel to Towers come in and pick you up and carry you and give you a home to live in, I think that's just amazing. I'd like to ask you to donate $11 a month to support these efforts by going to t2t.org or calling 1-844-BRAVEST.
The best part of the nighttime racing season at Los Alamitos is here, as the best quarter horses in the nation set to compete in our biggest race, like the Los Alamitos Super Derby, the Champion of Champions, and the Los Alamitos 2 Million Futurity. Plus, the best bets in night racing continue, like our early and late pick fours, always with the best pools at night. And of course, our Pick 6 promos on Sunday nights. The best part of the year is here at Los Alamitos.
The following is a Race Day Las Vegas presentation in association with Siraco Productions Limited on the Race Day Las Vegas Radio Network.
Live from the gaming capital of the world, time for Race Day Las Vegas, covering the sport of kings with a Las Vegas perspective. Now to the race desk with your host, Ralph Siraco.
From the backstretch to the turf club, at the racebooks and on the internet, to all horse players around the world, a good morning.
Alrighty, good morning everybody. Welcome to the Race Day Las Vegas radio program for this Wednesday as we begin another week of covering the great sport of kings, Las Vegas style, and yes, post Breeders' Cup. We'll take a look and we've had a couple of days to reflect on the Breeders' Cup and the whole event there. And I've got our handicappers here on the show today who's going to do a little reflecting and review of the Breeders' Cup as we move towards racing for the rest of the year as well. The only thing I got two things to say about my review of it, and we'll wait and see. We'll just wait for that in just a moment. I just want to welcome everybody that's watching and listening to us. We come to you live and direct from the gaming capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada, right here at our studio station. And our studio, of course, is here at the South Point Hotel Casino Complex on Las Vegas Boulevard in Las Vegas, and, of course, streaming on the South Point Studios network at YouTube, and, of course, our local radio station, Sports Talk, 1400 AM and 107.1 FM, for those of you running around town listening to us on the radio. And, of course, anywhere else you get us, our websites, are broadcasting this, the Race Day websites. And, of course, you can get the apps for your devices, your iPhone, your Androids, and your Google phones. And, of course, anywhere you get your podcasting. Simply put, however, wherever, whenever. Welcome to the Race Day show for this Wednesday. I hope everybody got a lot of rest and kind of rejuiced and reorganized here, because we are now moving into the winter, getting into the fall and winter racing. We have, of course, Churchill Downs running, and we still have Del Mar. Del Mar will have another, I think, 4 or 5 weeks left before we take a short 2-week run at Los Alamitos, and then day after Christmas, of course, you know that Santa Anita will start again. Taking a look at some of the stuff as far as the Breeders' Cup is concerned. The overall Breeders' Cup total handle, for the Breeders' Cup, 2.4% down from last year. 2.4% on the total handle, both simulcasting and all that other stuff, put it all together. And I think that could be reflected by the fact that they had the late scratches and, Sovereignty not making it to the Breeders' Cup Classic, etc. But the total handle was down 2.4%. Also, want to take a look at some of the action that's going on post-Breeders' Cup. And by the way, the weather here in Las Vegas, 58 degrees out. It's going to be 84 today in Vegas, so you can see the fluctuation of temperature here. As far as the rest of the country, it's going to be beautiful here today. But as far as the rest of the country, there's a lot of action going on in Washington, Oregon, and Northern California along the coastline. There's a lot of activity as far as moisture and rain. And the only other rain seen on the weather map right now is above the northeast into Canada, around Toronto, etc. So racing ought to be okay today around the country for what we have here. Okay? Now that takes care of that. As far as the Breeders' Cup, Forever Young, Yoshido Yahazaki said that it still hasn't sunk into him yet. It was a huge media publicities in Japan. I'll bet you it was. I'll bet you it was almost a national holiday in Japan after he won. Way more than he thought, he said. And that is giving him a real feeling of winning the Classic. So his homeland is supporting him on that. He said the stable jockey, and I know I'm going to screw up this name, I think it's Raisei Saki. He said he was worried when Sierra Leone was coming from outside, but Forever Young stayed very well. The team enjoyed the fruits of the victory last night, not last night, but the night that night of the Breeders' Cup victory. They celebrated at a Mexican restaurant in Del Mar, and I know that popular restaurant. They got good food there too, while watching the LA Dodgers win the World Series. And so, there was a Japanese influence in the World Series too, so they were having a great time. And he said it was a great game and a great series, and he was a little disappointed that Forever Young's big win in the Breeders' Cup Classic was overshadowed by the Dodgers win in Japan with the Japanese folks there. He said that Forever Young will stay in training. He's going to stay in training now, and in 2026, as long as he's in sound condition, which he is right now. And he said his next race will be either the Saudi Cup or the Dubai World Cup, looking at both of those races, Saudi Cup and then the Dubai World Cup, and then, of course, in his spring campaign. And then he's looking to give him a little bit of a rest in between 2025, because he wants to aim for next year's Breeders' Cup Classic as well. So that's pretty good stuff. That's good news there. Now, as far as Fierceness, Todd Pletcher said that Fierceness, he's just kind of bottled up on the inside for a good portion of the race. Yes, he was. The track was obviously carrying speed. Yes, it was. And he had a kind of cut the corner and made a run at it and just couldn't quite get there. Fierceness retires now with a record of 7 wins, 2 seconds, and 2/3 from 14 starts and earnings of over $5.7 million. So Fierceness is now retired. Mind Frame moves into retirement as well at Claiborne Farm this week with a record of 5 wins and 2 seconds from 9 starts and earnings of a little bit over $2 million. Antiquarian, another one of Todd Pletcher's horses, is scheduled to race as a 5-year-old. He's going to head to the headquarters, Pletcher's headquarters at Palm Beach Downs, and prepare possibly for the Pegasus World Cup or the Saudi Cup coming up early next year. Journalism. Trainer Michael McCarthy said plans for his 3-year-old star journalism, they continue to make the plans of either retiring him or sending him for a 2026 season. They said they're going to finalize sometime this week the decision whether to retire him or run him next year. He says they'll have a couple of days. His future is in the hands of the ownership, Mike McCarthy said. So there you have it. And as far as a bunch of Breeders' Cup odds and ends are concerned, well, Irad Ortiz Jr. wins his 6th Bill Shoemaker Award by accomplishing the most in the Breeders' Cup. That was his sixth Bill Shoemaker Award for the best accomplishments by a jockey in the Breeders' Cup. Trainer Jose D'Angelo won his first career Breeders' Cup races. He won 2 of them and joined Bob Baffert as the only trainer to win 2 events this year. How about that? He scored in back-to-back sprint races with She's So Spicy and, of course, Ben Tornado. And so congratulations to Jose Delgado for that. And they say 5 favorites won over the weekend. And Ethical Diamond was the biggest long shot. Of course, Ethical Diamond was that steeplechase horse that went on to win the Breeders' Cup Turf. Big price there. Ethical Diamond paid, I think, $57, something like that, $50-something. You remember, that was the horse that was bet down from 50 to 1 to 25 to 1 just before they started that race. And European runners dominated on the turf races again at Del Mar. Of the 6 Breeders' Cup races run on the turf, 5 were won by European-based runners. And the father-son duo of Aidan O'Brien and Danacha O'Brien won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, the John Deere Fillies Turf, with favorite Gastad and Valentina, and respectively, and that was a really neat thing, the father and son deal there. And as far as the Breeders' Cup World Champions, the leading jockeys after this Breeders' Cup, John Velasquez still leads them with the earnings of over $42 million. Mike Smith is still second with $38.6 million plus. And Irad Ortiz Jr. with his wins in the Breeders' Cup this year totals $31.5 million plus. Rounding out the top group is Joel Rosario, Frankie Dettori, and Ryan Moore. And as far as Breeders' Cup World Champion jockeys by wins, Mike Smith still holds it at 27. John Velasquez, 23. Irad Ortiz Jr. has crept up now into 3rd place with 23. Velasquez has 22, actually. So Irad is in 2nd place with 23. Velasquez at 22. And as far as the trainers are concerned, well, you got Bob Baffert leading in the earnings of $44.8 million. Aidan O'Brien, $36.3 million plus. Todd Pletcher, $31 million plus. There, Chad Brown next at 29.7 plus. And as far as the trainers by wins, Bob Baffert and Aidan O'Brien have tied now. They've had 21 wins apiece in Breeders' Cup events. They ran by the D. Wayne Lucas, who is in second place. Those two are tied for first. D. Wayne Lucas still second with 20 wins there. And the jockeys who won their first Breeders' Cup races over the weekend, Hector Barrios, Dylan McGonigal, and Raisu Saki. Of course, they were riders of Super Corridor, Ethical Diamond, and Forever Young, respectively. As far as the trainers, William Mullins, who had Ethical Diamond, won his first. And trainers who won their first World Cup Championship races include Jose D'Angelo, Francis Henry Graffard, Danachi O'Brien, and George Weaver. So there's just some of the stuff that happened over the weekend Breeders' Cup as we put a cap on that. All right. Taking a look at the big race over the weekend on Monday, they ran the Melbourne Cup, the 164th running of the Melbourne Cup. Jamie Melham, female jockey, was the 2nd woman jockey to win this prestigious race in Australia. aboard a horse called Half Yours. Half Yours completed a unique double, the 13th time this double has ever been done, winning the Caulfield and the Melbourne Cup all in 1 year. As far as the American runners in the race, there were 24 horses in the Melbourne Cup. One American horse was there. That horse, the American runner, Parchment Paper, trained by Bill Mott and ridden by John Velasquez, finished 20th out of the 24 horses. It was the first U.S.-trained horse to run in the Melbourne Cup ever. How about that? And talking about some fallout of the Breeders' Cup and all those scratches, reporting to me earlier, Jonathan Ardoon said he counted 14 late scratches by either vets, etc., over the course of all of the Breeders' Cup entered and run races. And one of the horses, White Abarrio, you remember, got scratched after leaving the paddock on the way to the starting gate. Well, one of his co-owners is really PO'd, and he has retained counsel and is going to sue. He wants to know a full accounting of how and why this horse was scratched in the Breeders' Cup. So that lid is coming off right there. You know you're going to hear more about that. Gold Phoenix, who finished 5th in the Breeders' Cup turf, he's going to race, excuse me, he's going to race at 8 years old. He's coming back to race at 8 years old, Gold Phoenix is. And Baeza is coming back and racing next year as a 4-year-old. So there you have it. There it is. Time to get started. We got our handicappers here today. Jonathan Ardoon is with us. Dwayne Colucci. It's Wednesday. Dwayne Colucci with the Rampart Report. Bridge Chang will be along with us. John Lindo for a thought or two about the Breeders' Cup, and Jerry Jackowitz as well. And we do have your racing menu and a few picks from Churchill Downs, too, for you today. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
The best part of the nighttime racing season at Los Alamitos is here, as the best quarter horses in the nation set to compete in our biggest race, like the Los Alamitos Super Derby, the Champion of Champions, and the Los Alamitos 2 Million Futurity. Plus, the best bets in night racing continue, like our early and late pick fours, always with the best pools at night. And of course, our Pick 6 promos on Sunday nights. The best part of the year is here at Los Alamitos.
All right, back on Race Day Las Vegas. I'll bet you want to know what horses in the Breeders' Cup got the highest buyer figures. Well, I got them. The top buyer figure out of the 14 races contested in the Breeders' Cup was produced by Forever Young. He won the Breeders' Cup Classic in a 111 buyer. Ben Tornado won the Breeders' Cup Sprint at 110. Ethical Diamonds, by the way, that hurdle horse, the big price, he got a 107. Gizora, winning the Philly Mare Turf, got 105. Nisos, with that battle to the wire with his stablemate, got a 105. Scylla, winning the Breeders' Cup Distaff, 103, as well as Notable Speech, who won the Breeders' Cup Mile at 103. Splendora got a 97 in winning the Breeders' Cup Philly Mare Sprint. Ted Nafi won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile with a 97 as well. Gastad, Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf winner, 88. Valentina, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf winner, 86. She's So Spicy, who won the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint, 105. Super Corundor, Corridor, I should say, Super Corridor, winning the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies in 84. And Cy-Fair, who won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint, got an 88. And that is just about all the wrap-up that we have for the Breeders' Cup, okay? As far as the weather, as we told you, just a lot of stuff going on in the northwestern part of the country. 81 in Miami, 67 in New York, 61 in Chicago, Los Angeles, 70 degrees. Phoenix, Arizona, hottest spot in the nation today at 89, and we're going to top out, as I said, about 84. Okay, here's the racing menu for today. Reminding you, as we always do, the first post times we broadcast on the show each and every day reflect that at the Pacific time zone. So if you're here in Las Vegas playing the races at South Point, these would be the first post times. If you're in the Pacific time zone, no problem. If you're not, adjust to it so you don't miss anything like I miss Mom and Dad, okay? We begin the racing menu at Parks Racing. Their Pick 5 jackpot carryover, $430,293, $430,293. 10 races today at Parks in the first post time of 9:05 there. All right, Mahoning Valley Racecourse is next. They have 8 races at Mahoning Valley. Pick 6 jackpot carryover, $16,825. First post time, 9:15 for their 8 races at Mahoning. Finger Lakes has 8 races today, upstate New York. Finger Lakes' first post time is at 9:20 Finger Lakes. Churchill Downs in Louisville, Kentucky has their first post time at 10 a.m. today. Churchill's Pick 6 jackpot carryover stands at $75,907. I take that back. That is Charlestown's. Churchill Downs Pick 6 jackpot carryover is bigger, $129,381. $129,381 Pick 6 jackpot carryover at Churchill. 9 races, first post time is at 10 a.m. Horseshoe Indianapolis has 9 races. Their first post time is 11:10. The first 8 will be thoroughbreds. The last one will be a quarter horse race. Again, Horseshoe Indianapolis at 11:10. And then next comes Delta Downs. Delta Downs has 8 races. Their first post time is at 2:45 at Delta Downs. Penn National, 9 races. They also have a first post time at 2:45 at Penn National. Their Super High 5 jackpot carryover, $2,516 in the first post time. 9 races, 2:45 as well. And then we wrap it up with Charlestown and their Pick 6 jackpot carryover, $75,907. And their first post time is at 4 p.m. in Charlestown. And that is your racing menu for today. Time to go out to Jonathan Hardoon. I asked him on Sunday to get ready for a soapbox on Wednesday, and so we're going to cut him loose. Jonathan, good morning.
Good morning, Ralph. How are you?
I'm doing fine, my man. What's your soapbox today?
No real soapbox, Ralph. We're just going to reflect on what we saw over the weekend. The problem is on Sunday, after the 2 great days of racing, all everyone was talking about was CAW and all the vet scratches. And when you have a 2-day event, which is the Super Bowl or World Series of horse racing, well, you should have done a little more talking about the horses and some of their performances, but we didn't. So obviously that's a problem with the game. I mean, 14 late scratches over 2 days with the best horses in the world, that's just impossible, Ralph. If they use those same standards for everyday racing, they would have 3 horses in every race running at Aqueduct or 3 horses running every day at Santa Anita. So obviously they're being overly cautious, and I don't know how good that is for the game. And I'm waiting for the first racetrack to stand up and say, no CAW allowed here. I'm really curious to see what would happen to their handle and how much business they would really attract. But nobody has the guts to do it because obviously they're in bed with the CAWs, most of these racetracks. And like I say all the time, they're being short-sighted. They're improving handle short-term, but in the long term, they are destroying the game. As far as the Breeders' Cup's concerned, well, the Kentucky Downs jinx is over. John Lindo nailed it. It took 134 starts, I believe. But finally, we got a winner from Kentucky Downs.
That's called the do factor, my man. The do factor big time, yeah.
That was seriously due. The question is it going to take another 100 starts before they get another winner? Journalism, I guess, I don't know if he's retiring, but I would assume he probably is. Sovereignty, did they say what they were doing yet? But as cautious as they are, chances are he will probably retire.
Well, now let me ask you this. talking about Sovereignty that didn't make the Breeders' Cup because he was the first scratch. Of course, that wasn't Heisa. He was scratched because he pitched a fever. But the way the Breeders' Cup turned out, do you think that Sovereignty is going to be voted Horse of the Year now?
Well, that's what happened on Saturday. By Forever Young winning, he ensured that Sovereignty would win Horse of the Year. And by the way, all the great plans they had, they entered a rabbit to help Sierra Leone. The rabbit did not help Sierra Leone because nobody paid attention to the rabbit. They let him run for 3 furlongs, and he backed up on his own. Would have been a better shot for Sierra Leone if they didn't have the rabbit, because maybe Fierceness and Forever Young would have gone at each other, and that may have helped. So they outsmarted themselves there. Journalism got rid of Umberto Rispoli and put on Ortiz. I didn't see the difference. Did you? He didn't run any better with Ortiz on him. He would have probably finished in the same spot if Rispoli was riding him. So everybody has these great, wonderful ideas, and most of them don't ever seem to work out.
Well, I think that you're correct in the fact that the talk really was threefold, and I was going to also add my opinion. CAW, yes, that's an ongoing thing, but the scratches in these races and the timing with White Barrier was just ridiculous, and the fact that it didn't really clarify the Eclipse Awards at the end of the year, but it'll get to sorting itself out. It will be interesting to see if Sovereignty retires or comes back next year. But all in all, those are the 3 things that people were talking about. What they also should have been talking about on Sunday was Flavien Prat riding, at Del Mar on Saturday in the Breeders' Cup, finishing in the money with Sierra Leone, then jumping on a plane and flying back to New York, and then showing up at Aqueduct and winning 7 races out of the 11 races at Aqueduct. Those 7 races, and 6 of them were in a row. He won the 2nd race for Chad Brown. He won the third race for Chad Brown. He won the 4th race for Brad Cox. He won the 5th race for George Weaver. He won the 6th race for Chad Brown, giving Brown 3 wins along with Pratt. And then he won the 7th race, the Red Smith Stakes, with Cugino for Shug McGahee, and then he came back in the 10th race for his 7th win of the day and gave Chad Brown his 4th win of the day, and nearly won 8 with a photo finish in the last race at Aqueduct. What a day Flavien Prat had there on Sunday.
Yeah, he was within a few inches of winning the last race, Ralph. To be honest with you, at the 16th pole, it looked like he was going right by, but the horse inside kept digging in. And to win 7 or almost 8 races, unbelievable feat. By the way, next Wednesday, Aqueduct did add a day of racing, November 12th, to make up for one of the cancellations they had last week. Yeah. Back to the Breeders' Cup in White Barrio. I actually know someone connected to the horse, and from what I understand, the day that horse shipped to California, the vets were all looking at him, and they wanted to scratch his horse in the worst way, and he kept passing and passing and passing, and then, literally behind the gate with less than 2 minutes to go, they finally got their way, the vets, and they scratched him. The horse was 5-1. All that money comes out of the pool. And it was horrible. The connections paid money to go there. You pay money to get in the race, whatever. You pay all the expenses and everything else. And then they tell you you're not running. Well, shame on them. If the horse got to that point, he was good enough to run. And believe me, I'm sure a lot of the 14 scratches on normal days would have gotten by. You can't have 3, 4, 5 people all looking at a horse, and all you need is one of them to say, no, go. And they scratch him. It's just not right. It's not fair. And they're going to really keep people away from going and wanting to enter in these races. They gave them too much power. It's gone to their head.
Yeah.
Time to back off and really, use a little common sense along the way.
Well, I will say this, that probably those 14 scratches, and most of them were late scratches of the day or into the day of the 2 days of the Breeders' Cup, probably accounted for the 2.4% decline in handle from the previous year. But they did say that they're still waiting for the handle, worldwide handle, all the pools worldwide, to see what the handle would be for that. But I think that had an effect.
I guarantee if the worldwide handle was up, we would have heard about it already. That's just the way this world now operates. they make stats fit what they want it to fit. They fudge stats for the most part. I don't know. I don't believe anything or anyone. So that's just my opinion.
Okay. And I'm so glad, folks, that when I asked him if he had a soapbox, he said, not really. Anyhow, yes, Virginia, there is racing after the Breeders' Cup, and Churchill Downs happens to be running today. And I know you did a sheet for Churchill Downs, probably on the plane on the way back from here to New York. But do you have a pick for us today?
We do, Ralph. It comes in the 8th race today, 7 furlongs on the main track, and I really like the number 6 horse in here, Flash Ware. This is a 3-year-old filly from the Tom Vance barn, Corey Lannery aboard to ride. Her only bad race really was 2 starts back when she ran in a stakes race going 2 turns without Lasix. She went back on Lasix last time out, ran well, draws a good outside box going 7 furlongs, 6-1 on the morning line. Number 6, Flash Ware, wins today's 8th race out of Churchill Downs.
All right, the 8th race at Churchill, number 6, Flash Ware. The 6 in the 8th race is Jonathan's play. Don't forget, he's got a full sheet today for Churchill Downs. And so we got to start building up a bankroll, maybe a little early for next year's Breeders' Cup. What do you say, my man?
There you go. We got the Derby before. We got the Pegasus. We got a million situations before.
We got immediately before tomorrow's races, too. So don't worry about it, folks. Here's the pick, the 6 in the 8th race. Hey, thanks a lot, Jonathan, for all the work you did here in preparation and all the shows you did here with us. It was a resounding success. We had... We were sort of, if you're talking about records, we broke some records with the attendance as far as the people viewing us here on YouTube, and we appreciate all of that as well. But it's because of the guys that, our Murderers Row out there and the success you guys had in the Breeders' Cup. Hope you had enough rest, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Okay, Rob, a special thanks to you, to John Lindo, to Steve Johnson, to everybody involved at the South Point. They put on a terrific show. And remember, the South Point is a friend of the $2 bettor or just the gambler and horse player in general.
Yeah, they like the gamblers here, the horse players as well. Thanks a lot, Jonathan, for that. And don't forget, he's got a Churchill Downs sheet. Where?
JONHARDOON.com. Thank you, Ralph. Stay safe and be well.
All right. You got it, my man. And we will be right back with Dwayne Colucci and Rich Hang. Don't go away.
Thank you, buddy.
There are many families that need your help. I'm Mark Wahlberg, and I'm asking you to support the Tunnel to Towers Foundation in their efforts to deliver mortgage-free homes to catastrophically injured service members, Gold Star, and fallen first responders families with young children, as well as eradicating homelessness amongst our veterans.
Everybody knows where the money's going. Every single dollar. God bless you.
Please contribute $11 a month to support their efforts by visiting t2t.org.
Are you ready to lock in your bets and cash in on the games this weekend? Get weekly football winners from Alex White, Chris Andrews, and Vinny Malulo.
I did take the dog 3.5.
I'm going to stay with the culture. That's definitely going to be one of my plays.
If the Bears have turned the corner, they have to take care of business in this game.
Yes.
Tune in for behind-the-book perspectives you won't find anywhere else.
Well, if you're looking to bet the under, you're going to get a better number.
The wise guys are certainly not going to play the favorites.
I know if it hits 7, don't blink. Maybe that's what bettors are waiting for.
Every NFL matchup, every college game that matters, the spreads, the stats, and the smart money plays.
Is there a way to bet against both teams?
Get your winning edge with Football Frenzy, streaming on YouTube every Friday at noon Pacific.
All right, back on Race Day Las Vegas. Time to go out to Dwayne Colucci standing by for the Rampart Report. And first, Dwayne, I'll bet you had people coming out of the rafters for the Breeders' Cup over the weekend at your place at the Rampart. Good morning.
Good morning, Ralph. Yeah, it was packed. It was ridiculously packed, and a very successful Breeders' Cup, especially Saturday. Our handle was off the hook. It was definitely way higher than last year, and I know the state's numbers were slightly up, but like you said, there was a little decrease, definitely due to the fact of the scratches. Yeah, that's the focal issue here. Those late scratches really killed a lot of the fields, and it started with Sovereignty, unfortunately, but that was way ahead of time. But then, depleting the Philly Mass Sprint there and a couple other key scratches like White Barrio, it just, it leaves that little sour taste in your mouth in the fact that these horses are on the track for basically a week and a half. And like John just said prior, you can't have like 6, 7 people going over the same horse and each having a different opinion, and each of them could pull the trigger basically on your future when spending all this money to ship the horse, get the horse in condition, get him acclimated to his surroundings, and then you're on the track with 5 minutes to post, and you're saying that the horse is lame and can't run. I don't buy into that. I think there needs to be a revision of these stewards and vets looking over these horses, and there needs to be a format basically so the trainers know what they're up against instead of coming, ready like Kenny McPeak was with basic documentation, horse soundness, all that going on, and
Yeah.
the vets are still saying no go.
Yeah, it's too much power, I think, in one spot there. That's for sure. But I'm sure that with the backlash that they'll probably get off of the unbelievable amount of scratches, 14 in 2 days, and these are world champion horses, as you say. So we'll wait and see how the backlash turns out. That's for sure. But all in all, real quick, Dwayne, the race of the Breeders' Cup that impressed you.
I got to say, Ted Nafi really impressed me digging in there with Brandt and the two-prong attack. He was surrounded, and he seemed to have another gear, which was very, very impressive. Ben Tornado, I was glad I was able to give him out at the seminar that we had on YouTube. He was just unbelievable. Irad had complete control of that race, and he just dominated, and we have to mention Forever Young. I mean, he got the job done. He was able to overcome Sierra Leone with that huge, powerful late kick, and a credit to the Japanese contingency. He ran a great, great race, as did Sierra and Fierceness. Maybe Rapoli has a few comments about the rabbit there interfering with Fierceness, but I don't think they were going to beat Forever Young.
I could tell you this, two of the races, and you mentioned one, Ten Nafi and Brandt, and of course Nisos and Citizen Bull, two horses that went stride for stride all the way through the stretch, just laying it down to show you the really competitiveness and the drive and the athletes that these horses are. Those were two great driving finishes, and neither horse that lost deserved to lose, that's for sure. But we do have racing after the Breeders' Cup. By the way, when you say the overall handle was down at Del Mar, but we had breaking records here in Las Vegas. I know for the at your place and ours for the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, it was excellent. I mean, I can't complain.
Yeah, so I guess people are starting to get hip to say, hey, let's go out to Vegas and go to those places where they take care of horse players instead of paying exorbitant amounts to be at the track and not have too much left to do anything else with. That's for sure. We appreciate it, though, very much. Got a pick for me today?
Yeah, sure. Let's go to Churchill Downs. Like you said, that's the prominent racing. They do have, I believe, a pick 4 carryover at Horseshoe today, so keep an eye on that as well. That's a $1 minimum. But race 4 today at Churchill, I'm going with the 1, River Eyes. A little chalky, broke a little slow. He's got that inside post again. That's the only thing I'm worried about. But definitely William Walden, excellent conditioner. We know about this guy. Axel Concepcion is having a fabulous meet. He's this kid is really impressive. I've been following him now for a couple of years, and he's just getting better and better and better. I think this horse definitely can improve. He has a race under his belt. If he breaks a little more consistently from the rail today, he's going to be tough to catch. He backed up a little last race, but this race I expect him to explode. Churchill Downs, race 4, number 1, River Rise, 5-2 with Axel Concepcion and Mr. Walden controlling.
All right, you got a 4th race today at Churchill. Numero uno, River Rise, number 1 in the 4th, Dwayne's pick for us on the show. And Dwayne, we'll talk to you next Wednesday.
Yeah, definitely. Let's pick some winners and get ready for, I guess, the Kentucky Derby, Pegasus World Cup, too.
Yeah, definitely. That's for sure. There's always something going on that we're pointing towards. That is absolutely. And by the way, if you're up in that part of the country, up in Summerlin, up in there, that part of the spreading Las Vegas Valley, the Rampart is the only place to go up there. That's for sure. Thanks a lot, Dwayne.
Thanks, Ralph. You have a great day.
All right. You got it, my man. Now we're going to go out to Mr. Forever Young, Rich Eng. Good morning, Richie.
Hey, good morning, Ralphie. Good morning, viewers. Good morning, listeners.
Well, it was an interesting Breeders' Cup, and now you had a few days, a quick afterthought of what you thought of the Breeders' Cup and any things that you had noticed at the Breeders' Cup.
Well, I'm going to mirror comments just made by Dwayne and by John and the fact that I didn't realize there were 14 scratches, but that's an awful lot for a championship event. And you got to take a look at the source of these horses. The fact that these owners, the horses are more than a commodity at the championship level. They love these horses, and they're going for championships. And you would think an owner, not in his right mind, would send a horse that's lame or in any way physically not 100% to the Breeders' Cup. There's too much at stake. And to have that many scratches, it just doesn't make sense to me, because in a way you're almost blaming the owners and the trainers that you're taking a chance with their very valuable, loved commodity animal.
Yeah, and they really do. They take care of these horses. It would break their heart if something happened. That's for sure. And it's just we'll wait and see how it all shakes out. But Forever Young, a nice win there, and if all the parts stay in the right place, I guess he's going to try to come back at the end of next year and defend in the Breeders' Cup Classic, and along the way, take a shot at some of the big races, world big races, the Saudi Cup and the Dubai World Cup as well. So we'll wait and see on that. Well, we don't have any football today, but we're going to crank into tomorrow with a football pick. But in the meantime, we do have racing today, and I know that when you don't have a sheet for Southern California, et cetera, you always try to root out a horse for us on our shows. So where are we going with the pick today?
Yeah, before I give my pick at Churchill, let's sneak in congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yeah.
They had to come back to win Game 6 and Game 7 in Toronto, and the ending of the game in Game 7, Ralph. We're going to remember that for a long, long time.
Oh yes, and not only will we remember it for a long time, but it was nice to experience that event happening as it happened with a bunch of friends too. That was good.
Yep. I tell you what, I took a look at about 75 races at 8 racetracks last night, and believe it or not, I landed on the exact same horse as Jonathan Hardoon, race 8, number 6, Flash Wear. So, I guess it's the seal of approval, as you like to say.
Yeah.
But I like horses cutting back in distance and an elongated sprint. Corey Lannery's riding this horse. He loves to ride the rail. With the elongated sprint distance, he should be able to work himself to the inside, actually. But this horse should be flying late. Let's go with Flash Wear in the 8th.
All right, the 8th race, both Rich Eng and Jonathan Hardoon land on the same horse. That, in our opinion, is the Good Housekeeping handicapper's seal of approval. When 2 of them land on the same horse, that's the 8th race, number 6, Flash Wear. The 6 gets a double whammy for us in the 8th race today at Churchill. Well, thanks a lot, Rich. We'll talk to you tomorrow and get an NFL pick for the Thursday night game as well.
Sounds good, bro. Good luck, everybody.
All right, you got it. We're going to take a quick, short break. When we come back, John Lendo and Jerry Jackowitz. I think Jerry has a thought or two about something at Belmont that happened during Breeders' Cup. I can't wait to hear what he has to say. We'll be right back.
South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style Paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world.
The Race Day Las Vegas Show, the only exclusive daily local media racing information source in Las Vegas.
All right, back on Race Day Las Vegas for this Wednesday. We're going out to Southern California where John Lindo is at. John, good morning.
Good morning, Ralph. Looks like you've recovered from a long weekend. Ready to go for another week.
Yes, I needed the 2 days off, that's for sure. I ditto to you, I guess, huh?
Ready to go. Yeah, it was crash and burn Monday, but we're back going again.
John, I ask all of my handicappers today to kind of reflect on the Breeders' Cup, and I'm asking you the same question.
Well, with all the great storylines in the Breeders' Cup, the things like the Japanese winning the Breeders' Cup Classic, and we saw Aidan O'Brien and Bob Baffert become the tied for leading trainer. Now they passed D. Wayne Lucas for a number of Breeders' Cup wins. But it's really sad to me that the storylines, the noise is about, the CAWs and the regulatory vet scratches and the way racing is presented now. And the folks out there need to remember one thing: the game is expensive, so it's got to be fun. You got to have a good time doing this. And I don't think anybody who bet Conducted on Friday at 7-2 and cashed and ended up getting 540 were happy about that, or going to see the Derby winner, Mystic Dan, only to find out he was a regulatory vet scratch the morning of, and the folks associated with White Barrio, and I'll tell you this from a personal standpoint, a lot of times with these reg vets, they'll go through and they'll be on the fence in the morning. They'll tell you, we'll let you go out on the track and warm up. If we don't like what we see, we're going to scratch. And I've got a gut feeling that's what happened in the Breeders' Cup.
Uh-huh.
But, there are some simple fixes in this stuff, Ralph. And one of the things the Breeders' Cup can do is lead by example. Why not just take the CAWs out of the equation on the Breeders' Cup? I know it's going to cost them money and handle, but the fans to have a level playing field on a championship day sure would be a nice thing to see. And, the regulatory vet situation, it's gotten way over. The pendulum has swung so far to the overprotection side. And if they're going to do that, why don't they protect the horse players at the same level of passion to do it? But there's so many hypocritical things in this business. But the racing was great. The venue was great. And I tell you, the fan experience at the South Point was even better. It was just terrific over there. So there are good things. I hope we can get back to making this a really fun event all the time for everybody.
Yeah, I agree with you, and that was a great way of putting it, John. I agree with you on all those levels. That's absolute. And we will wait and see how it shakes out and see if they will take the response of what people have to say into consideration, because the response is coming from the end user, the customer. So we'll wait and see about that. Well, we look ahead. And, of course, we've got another weekend of great racing coming up. Del Mar's just started their meet for the 4 or 5 weeks that they have. And I know that you don't have any sheets today, John, but what's the Lindo report look like for the rest of the week?
I'll do the late pick 5 at Churchill tomorrow with no racing at Del Mar. Obviously, we'll do Del Mar Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I'll probably throw in there's a good late pick 5 sequence Saturday at Churchill. I have not checked Sunday yet. So I'll mix in a little bit of Churchill Downs with what I've got going in Southern California this week.
All right. What about that Flavian Pratt, huh, in New York? He flies all the way from the Breeders' Cup. And, you go from the high of the big event Breeders' Cup, and you're on a plane and then you go to New York at Aqueduct. Although they had 3 great stakes races at Aqueduct and all that, it's not the level of the Breeders' Cup adrenaline that gets you going. And this guy wins 7 races in almost 8, and I think he finished second. Well, I know he finished second in the last race. I think he had one more second out of the other rides he had. Unbelievable.
Yeah, 7 wins, got beat a photo in the last, and was second, I think beating a half length in another.
Yeah.
Unbelievable day. I'm a little jet lagged. I'll just go win 7 races in New York.
Yeah.
That's a professional right there.
You got it, my man. And so are you and all of the handicappers that contributed so much to our coverage of the Breeders' Cup. I want to thank you all for that, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
You got it. And thanks for everybody for coming out. We had a great time.
Absolutely. This is what we do it for, the folks out there. All right. Now we're going to go to Jerry Jackowitz, who has his Giants hat on. Good morning, Jerry. Let's see if we can get
Giants and Raiders. Wow, been
Yeah.
tough this year.
Jerry, I know that you have a thought about the Breeders' Cup that you want to express, so go ahead and say it, man.
I had a couple of thoughts. I'm always disappointed. This isn't the first time when they make the track so speed favoring that it eliminates fair play between speed horses and closers. It just puts the closers at such a disadvantage, and so I definitely feel like the track was way too speed favoring, and I favored Forever Young to a great extent. You can kind of see that. I think the handicappers got into it because they opened Forever Young down at 3-1, Sierra Leone was clearly, to me, the better of the two horses. But Forever Young ran a good race, but it seems to me like the second best horse got all the glory and got all the money.
Okay, you said you had a couple of things though. What's some of the others?
Well, one of the other things I was a little bit disappointed in is a jockey as great as J.R. Velasquez has been over his career, that he took fierceness back. I don't think he would have beaten, by the way, I don't think even if he went to the lead that he would have beaten Sierra Leone, but he would have beaten, I think he would have beaten Forever Young if he put him on the lead and kept him there. I mean, giving up the lead on that track was just insane. You could see that in the other two-turn race with the fillies, where the speed horse just went on the front end, and when the better horse, Nitrogen, wanted to go and get her, she just ran away from Nitrogen like she was
a fresh horse. Yeah,
maybe she'd have beaten Nitrogen on the level if the track was honest. I mean, that's perfectly possible. But the disparagement between the two horses wouldn't have been so great. So,
all right, let me just take a quick note of what you just said. You said he would have beaten. He might not have beaten Sierra Leone, but he would have beaten Forever Young. Well, Forever Young won the race, so if he was going to win, then he would beat them both. But nevertheless.
No. I think Sierra Leone would have won off by quite a bit.
Oh, okay. But I think what was in the back, and I'm just speculating here, but they talk so much about the rabbit in the race for Sierra Leone that I don't think that John Velasquez thought it was a good idea to go out and try to duel a horse that was intentionally put in there to keep the pace fast and fade. So maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know.
That's fine. You can mastermind any situation. This was a deadlock inside speed track. You had to be either in the rail position or one path out. You didn't want to be more than that far away from the track, from the rail. And the horse on the lead was going to have a 3 or 4 length advantage over every other horse in the race.
The way the track was playing, you say, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. And J.R. Velasquez has been around horse racing a long time now. I remember when he was
and he's riding it.
He used to ride the bias very well there.
Yeah, and he's been riding at such a high level right now. I mean, what he did at Keeneland, etc. Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
But I mean, I'm sure that he would probably say to me, if he heard me, he says, "You don't know what you're talking about," but I do know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about better than 99.9% of the people in the game. Inside speed tracks have a huge advantage. When you identify one, you don't give it up for nothing until that bias has been disappears. And that's just the right way to play it from a jockey point of view. It's the right way to play it from a bettor's point of view.
Okay. Well, that's a great observation, and I'm glad we gave you enough time to get that. And of course, as normal, we are pushing right up against the end of the show. So I want to thank you so much for expressing that opinion. And I do agree with you, though, one thing for sure. That was a track that seemed to look as if it was favoring speed horses over the 2 days of the Breeders' Cup, at least on the main track, I should say.
Right.
And Jerry will get back to work with his Power Pages tomorrow with Aqueduct, and then, of course, picking up Del Mar a little bit later on in the week. In the meantime, as often the case may be, Jerry is going to say the last word. Go ahead, Jerry.
Have a great race day, everybody.